Quick review of the introduction I gave yesterday, which is I think fundamental to the whole Sefer, probably to life, and that is that when we talk about Tzelem Elokim, we're not talking about Tzelem Elokim. Man is created in the image of Hashem, so we're not just talking about like an interesting fact, or we're not even talking about, as I always thought, a commentary on human potential, or Tzelem Elokim, or godly. It's something much more than that, we realized yesterday, and that is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the whole world in order to be a toiv umeitiv. The ultimate in the hatava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is when you can actually be meitiv. Right? That was the point that I was bringing out yesterday. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu would not have created the world, say all the Sifrei Kabbalah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would not actually have created a world, Nasiya, the world that we live in. So his Tov Kiviyachol would have been theoretical. And theoretical Tov is not Tov yet. It's not Tov Gomor. So as much as we can understand, this is basically the basics of every Sefer Kabbalah. Each one has a different derech, a different mahalot, and it gets extremely sophisticated. But just the yesod of it is clear. How does HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we learned yesterday, how does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do this toiv in the world? How does it happen? So it happens a number of ways. It rains. Sometimes man falls from Shemayim. There's a lot of different involvements of HaKadosh Baruch Hu interacting with this world in order to toiv umeitiv. The ikar that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did is he created something called a basar v'dam. And basar v'dam are executive employees, and there's a lot of things you can do. Like if I have a corporation, I can put the air conditioning on, I can paint the walls nice, I can do a lot of nice things. But the ikar is the staff. The staff is those that bear the look, the resemblance, the kochos, executive kochos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Executive means able to execute. Right? The executive kochos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's basar v'dam. Adam arishin chava, zachar nekeva, even together. The ultimate Tzelem Elokim. So when we talk about being a Tzelem Elokim, being created with Tzelem Elokim, it's not as important to talk about what that says about us. It's us as part of the Malchus of Hashem and the total manifestation. There's a job here.
We're the mechanism. We're the mechanism.
We are the mechanism. It's very similar to Malachim. Very similar to Malachim, just a bigger job. And a job because the Malachim, all the way down, it is very similar to the Midos, and it's Kol Midos. The Midos, I mean, when we talk about, is a very important thing to understand also, when we talk about the Spheros, which is another way of saying Midos, what we're talking about, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, what is it? What are those spheres? We know what they mean. Chesed, Gvura, we know what they mean. What is it? These are the like when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. There's so much to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Maybe he has billions of midos. Maybe he has an infinite amount of midos. But these are the midos that he's using to run the world. These are the covenantal bylaws of the world. Is that okay? What am I going to take out of my bag, Kiviyachol, and use that to run the world? The answer is I'm going to work here with Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. So that those midos, or in other languages, Hashem, Kel, Rachel, Mechanun, there's so much more to Hashem than anything like that. As we pointed out yesterday, Hashem also does the Kama. But these are the worlds these are the rules, the bylaws, and how are these going to be enacted? How are the Zion Spheros going to be enacted? Through the behavior, acts, deeds of Tzelem Elokim humans. So when we talk about Tzelem Elokim, we're talking about a very executive position with a very, very clear, detailed, and intense job description as clear representatives. Do we have Bechira Chavshis? We have Bechira Chavshis. I had a thought last night, I was talking to somebody, that everybody learns that the reason why we have Bechira Chavshis, everybody learns that we have Bechira Chavshis because otherwise there wouldn't be any Schar V'Onesh. That seems to be a common thing everybody learns. If you don't have Bechira Chavshis, so what's Shaykh Onesh, what's Shaykh Yevit Schar? It feels wrong to me, philosophically. It seems trite that we should have Bechira Chavshis because we should have Schar V'Onesh. I mean, we have Bechira Chavshis because we're at a very, very high level executive position. And you have to have, if you're going to, if you had a corporation and you were going to send somebody out on a high level, if you're the president or you're sending out the Secretary of State, you have to give him an authority to make some decisions by himself. He can make all the decisions, but he has to have some power of decision. He has to have some Bechira Chavshis because otherwise there's no koach. What's the koach? So, will he be rewarded if he decides right? Will he be penalized if he decides wrong? Of course, but the point: will he be promoted? Will he be demoted? Be yichya? Be yavus? Be ba'eshu? Be babayim? But the bechira, the etzem, it's superficial to think that that's the essence of bechira chavshis. The essence of bechira chavshis is Tzzelem Elokim. Do you hear this?
Yeah, amazing.
That's the essence of it. That's the importance of it. Is that I'm an important person. And I also explained yesterday, I want to review one more time, that Tzzelem Elokim is not limited to Jews necessarily. Everybody's a Tzzelem Elokim. Everybody is the children of Bnei Adam. But the difference is that when this was pointed out to everyone, maybe around the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim, when it was pointed out to everybody, nobody was accepting of that rule except for the Bnei Yisrael. So what makes Bnei Yisrael different is that they accepted the role. They understood the responsibility of being Tzzelem Elokim. It's not that they are, and of course that created a different relationship in Klal Yisrael of Bnei B'chori Yisrael. Okay, Lechtech Acharai B'Midbar B'Eretz Lo Zarua, and you accepted the mandate, the Moiridic mandate of being B'Tzelem Elokim. So Tzelem Elokim is not just a description of the importance of the human being in terms of my potential. It's the whole thing. It's the whole reason why we're created. It's all raison d'etre. There is no. This is our position, and therefore, and the position is all part of the Zayin Sfiros. We have to have within us the ability to do Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, because otherwise we're not clone stamps of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
That's what Tzelem Elokim means?
That's what Tzelem Elokim means. It means the Zayin Midas. So says the Ramat Mefurish. By the way, thank you for saying that, because the Velt, the Yeshiva Velt, there's Parak Aleph of the Tomer Devorah. That's what's learned. The rest we put away, because it's like every other Kabbalah Sefer. But if you learn Parak Bais to Parak Ches, it starts Oid Liyas Adam Doim Elokoina B'Soid Midas HaKeser B'Soid Midas HaChesed. Exactly. If you look at the end of the Sefer, which is traditionally skipped, it's all about finding those spheros within us, because so there's a thing called. Maybe you're familiar, there's something called the Shir Koima. Chazal even speak about it. The Shir Koima. Shir Koima means the stature, the height, the posture of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you look at the Kabbalistic charts, so there's the Keser, there's Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach. It looks like a body, so that's called the Shir Koima. In Kabbalistic literature, Chesed is on the right, the Gevurah is on the left, etc. Tiferes is in the middle. Again, Netzach, Hod, two legs. So that's called Shir Koima. Obviously, it's a mashal, but it's just a way of remembering it. That's where the Magen David comes from, and all of these different. pieces, pieces of Klal Yisrael, the images of Klal Yisrael. Even other religions have taken some of this imagery from Klal Yisrael. So the Shir Koima is, from a Kabbalistic point of view, the Shir Koima is Lamala and the Shir Koima is Lamata. Meaning, Nefesh HaChaim speaks about this in Barichos, that there's the Shir Koima Lamala, which we have no real concept in, I guess. But then there's the Shir Koima Lamata, which is within us, that we have a concept in. So Rav Chaim Elozhin brilliantly and famously says that that we are a mashal to what's going on in Shemayim, not vice versa. If you want to bring a mashal about life, life is the mashal. Life is a mashal to what's going on in Shemayim. So if you want to understand what's going on in Shemayim, the chesed of Hashem, so take a look at our chesed, you can understand a little bit about Hashem's chesed. And so it's everything's upside down. It's not a Shir Koima Lamata. This is Rav Chaim Elozhin, Parak Aleph, Shar Aleph, Parak Chesed, I think. That the Shir Koima Lamata is the mashal to the Shir Koima Lamala. The point is, it's all makbil, it's all parallel. And it has to be parallel because this is where we get trained in how to be the Tzelem Elokim, how to have that kind of an executive position. What we're being charged here with is that executive position. That's what Tzelem Elokim means. It's very important. I always say it's just very important. Why is it big to learn at Elul? Because it's time to internalize this kind of idea, like just to know what our position is. There is no such thing as a Pasha Yid. What does that mean? It's like a Pasha general. It don't work. Okay, so let's learn inside a couple of words. Parak Rishon is the introduction. It doesn't yet start with the mitos. Ha'adam roi she'yizdam elokainai. Everybody knows that the Ramak was the Rebbe of the Arizal. Lashon of the Vilna Gaon is that where the Ramak finishes, that's where the Arizal starts. Meaning, it's all based on that. The Ramak, by the way, was a Talmud. Where did he get it from? He was a Talmud of some Alkabitz. Always bothers me that our Rav Alkabitz, it says that he was the Bachaber of the Luchadodi on his kever. Like I knew I had the schus of knowing Rav Hutner, let's say, many generations later. So Rav Hutner wrote the Pachad Yitzchak. Rav Hutner was the Rosh Hashiva. Rav Hutner was a Gadol Andor. So like imagine if you go to his kever and it says the Bachaber of the Nigad Bilvavi Mishkan, which he was. But why is the Luchadodi like the whole? It was the Rebbe of Rav Alkabitz was the Rebbe of the Ramak. It was the Rebbe of the Arizal, who was the Rebbe of anything which is today considered Sisrei Torah and Side. It has to be through the Arizal. But so his lashon is ha'adam ra'oi she'yizdam elokainai. So let's be medayik, as I have never been in previous years. Ra'oi she'yizdam elokainai means it is befitting for a person to act in the same way as his creator. She'yizdam elokainai. And it's not just a fact, it's right. It's matim lo. Ra'oi means matim lo. She'yizdam elokono. If the whole reason that we were created, Tzelem Elokim, is to be able to pull off this executive behavior and to really do some chesed here in this world and do some midos and make a kiddush Hashem. So kiddush Hashem in the most profound daily level. So it's roi if we have all of this equipment and we're not aware of it or we don't use it properly or we choose wrong. So it's chaval. For what were we created? So ra'ui ha'adam, it's surpassed. It's befitting for a person. She's dam elokainai. Roy is a very important word over here. And if you do that, aziyah beside hatsura ha'elyoina. Aziyah then. Yeah, beside that surah, Yoina Tzelem Udmus. So Chaim, what's the surah Yoina? What's the surah Yoina?
The mitos.
Serious. The surah Yoina is the Shir Kaima of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what the words mean. So the Tzura El Yoina refers to Keser, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. That's a Chodesh HaKolchos. That is what's the Tzura El Yoina. So it's not like got to be like God. It's we have to incorporate within us all of the spheres of the Shir Koima. And that's so. It's the side Tzura El Yoina. The side Tzura El Yoina are the spheres, as opposed to the if you look at a person. Superficially, you meet a person on the street for the first time and last time. So what do you see? You see that he's dark, he's light, he's heavy, he's thin, he's white, he's black, he's gray, his hair is this. You see a very superficial part of the person. You see the panim. The panim. That's what's available to everybody, not the panim. So it's only after knowing somebody for a while that you get the side. The side is the secret part, the hidden part, the part that you can't know right away. The side, Tzura El Yoina. I had a very interesting thing happen to me. It was top of my mind. I went when I was in the United States. So I drove with my son to from New York to Buffalo, New York. 7 hours, towards Niagara Falls. So, because I wanted to go visit my mother's kever, which is in Buffalo, New York. So I was the Rav of Buffalo. First I grew up there. I was a Rav there for 10 years, and the old shul was built up over there at that time. There was like 60, 70 families from zero. That it was a dead neighborhood. Built up families about like Shuva. It was a very interesting community that didn't have chinuch. But I went back there, so the shul's still there. They have a new rabbi. The shul, which was very nice, big simcha. They actually have a rabbi. 12 people there, 15 people. So I went down in Shacharis. I met everybody there. Their wives even came, and they said hello. It was a very nice thing. And introduced to the rabbi, and I went further to the Beis Akvaris. So I'm on the mailing list of the shul, which is obviously extremely exciting, but I'm on the mailing list of the shul. So I get so the rabbi blogs every few days. He blogs. So the rabbi writes that we had two. He said today in the shul we had two very important guests. He goes, we had Rabbi Yaacov Haber, who many people know, a long-time rabbi of the shul, a gifted rabbi, and blah, 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 author of this and author of that. And then in the afternoon, very nice, then in the afternoon we had a certain Hasidic rabbi came, and he was passing from Toronto to New York, and I stopped there for Mincha Mar, and this rabbi came, and the two important guests of the shul. So he writes, I was much more impressed with the Rebbe than I was with Rabbi Haber. I didn't know about the mailing list. That's more impressed. So, and he says, and I'm trying. He writes in this blog. I should read this here. Tell me what you think about it. He says, and I'm wondering to myself, like, why am I more impressed with this Rebbe, who I really don't even know, and I don't know what he does. And I know all about Rabbi Haber. Can't stop hearing about it, but I read his books. So I was like, why am I more impressed with the Rebbe than I am with Rabbi Haber? That was his kasha in his blog. So, I'm feeling very uncomfortable at this point of reading. Where are we going here? So his teretz was tied into the parsha even. His teretz was that the Rebbe came with an entourage of Hasidim. He came with 10 Hasidim, and he was wearing a fur coat, even though it was 95 degrees outside. And it was all the way he davened, and Haber came with his teenage son. I mean, if somebody comes to shul with their teenage son, that's better than coming with 20 Hasidim, in my opinion. But so he said, I realized that I was just being taken by the Chitzonius Adover and not by the Pneumius. So I think at the end it was a compliment. but if it was, then what's he dissing the Rebbe for? I just didn't understand the whole email. But what the kuta here is that I'm trying to bring out. What do you think of that?
He's right. The Rav should like.
board over there. What?
Maybe it's the right of the Rav should not wear like long pants and an entourage.
Yeah, l'chara. Entourage is everything. If there's any volunteers,
Appearances,
I'm looking for that type of.
appearances are everything. Appearances are everything.
Yeah, well, the point is that the reason I'm mentioning this over here is the point is there's the panim and the name. Whether it's true of him or true of me or not true of him, just saying it as a Bais Torah last couple weeks ago. But when you see the so unbelievable, the Chovos HaLevavos writes in Shara Bechina that if you walk through the forest and you notice the ployim of nature of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you watch the ladybug clean the plant, and you watch the dew come up in the morning, and you see how the just the natural malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, its majesty, its mamish majesty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So says the Chovos HaLevavos, you're seeing the chitzonius, you're not yet seeing the pneumius. You're seeing something every scientist can see. You're seeing every botanist, because anybody with eyes can see it. Not that it's not important to see, but you're seeing the beauty, the external beauty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're not yet understanding the inner beauty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says the Chovos HaLevavos, until you understand the Tzura Hel Yaina. So the Tzura Hel Yaina, when we're talking about the Tzura Hel Yaina, yet as deep as that is, as remarkable as it is, but you're not catching the pneumius, and the pneumius is that plants die, ladybugs get stepped on. The pneumius hadavar will never die. So when we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have discussed to learn about the pneumius, because the Sfarim are megala to us the pneumius of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not only that, but we get to understand what our own pneumius is based on. So we're not talking about just the outside surah, which would be beautiful onto itself. We're not talking about the entourage, if you will. We're talking about the pneumius hadavar, which may or may not be beautiful. Because hadin is not always beautiful. There's lamed vav tzadikim that are not always beautiful. And they're not always wearing big, beautiful fur hats. Not that I'm saying that it's not lav dafka. Like the shade kite of it is chashuv, but it's not yet the essence of the thing. That's the point. So v'azia beside hatzura hel yoina tzelem udmus. We need to, as we go on, work out what is called tzelem and what is called dmus. Salmenu ki dmusenu parasada. What's the positive shot? Somebody tell me positive shot. What's the difference between tzelem and dmus? Tzelem means what?
Physical shape of the person? Or what is the
Tzelem?
Yeah. The other is the midos.
Dmus what's the shurish of the word dmus?
Domen.
Domen. And the shurish of the word tzelem? Tzel.
Yeah.
Tzel. So the shape. You look at a shadow, you don't get too much about the personality unless you're really smart. Not much to see there. You don't even get the smile. You don't even get the details of the body language. You just see a shadow. So Tzelem Elokim and Dmus. Tzel Kel. Tzal was, but Tzel Kel. So Tzel, like a shadow. So we need to understand Tzelem and Dmus. She'ilu Yeduma Begufay. If it would be that a person would be domeh. Now here you have a little bit of a hint to the word. Begufo, doma seems to be in the goof, like Moshe is saying, velo bepulos, and not in midos, so you would have dmus, a little bit the opposite. Dmus without tzelem, harehu, powerful words, machziv hatsura. He would be machziv the tzura. What's machziv mean?
Deceive.
Why? Machziv Hatsura means, like you can imagine that, let's assume that in my case, the guy with, the Rebbe with all of the Tzura presumably had a lot of pneumius too. But if you have the Chitzonius and you don't have the pneumius, that's pretty disgusting. So that's called machziv hatzura. If you've got the look, and you don't, if you talk the talk and you don't walk the walk, that's already machziv hatzura. Here you have the whole hanhaga of chesed, gvura, tiferes. You have the whole shir koima, adam, but you're not real.
It's empty.
Empty. So if it's not real, that's not just you're not working to your potential. It's machziv hatzura. You're taking a tzura and you're being machzivet.
What does that mean? That you have surah without?
Well, look, vayomru alav, and they will say of him, tzura noah umaisim kurim. Looks like the real thing, but when you get into it, he's not the real thing. The real thing being, the definition of the real thing is that it doesn't have the midos of Hashem, that he was created with him for to be able to do the chesed. So again, let's not lose our place here. The purpose of the creation of the world is chesed. So it means to say mostly that we need to do chesed. And if a person has got the whole look, but when you can't count on him to do you a favor, to put it very simply, or he's not willing to go that extra mile, we're going to learn about how far that mile really is. But basically, he's machziv the tzura. You look like a big tzaddik, and you look like a big philanthropist and a big bal chesed, but you're really not.
It's a failure to actualize the potential.
Yeah, but therefore, and this is the way they put, and therefore, you're machziv the tzura. The failure to actualize the potential is nebuch. Oh, you could have been so great. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about that you're hired for a job, you're given all of the tools, you're given the executive jet, you're given the whole the executive decision making, and you don't do it. So yet you're being noheg with kavod. So that's machziv the tzura. Yomer olav tzura noah umaisim kuurim. Sharei ikar. I don't know who this Yomer olav is referring to. Who's going to say on him? By Yomer olav, they will say about him, tzura noah umaisim kuurim. I think he means the nature, trees, the flora and the fauna.
Malachim.
Malachim. In other words, everybody who's not a basar v'dam, every creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's not with Tzelem Elokim, so what's the nature of a Tzelem Elokim? It's just chitzoni. So here we have a demand to be very, very pnimi. But even on the outside, the point is we are bearers of the Shem Hashem. So I said this yesterday, I just want to reiterate, that if a person is machziv the tzura, being that we're created in Tzelem Elokim, and if we don't actually do what we're supposed to do in that capacity, so it's actually like it's a real Chilul Hashem. I mean, Chilul Hashem in the purest sense of the word, because Chilul Hashem means that you're taking something kodesh and you're making it chol. The shame is the ultimate articulation of the Kedushas Hashem. Kedushas Hashem. Hashem. How he manifests himself in this world. We are the ultimate articulation of the Tzura El Yoda. That's why we're called Tzelem Elokim. Imagine Tzelem Elokim. Here's a sample. Tzelem Elokim. So if we are machziv hatzura, it's really not just a case of Chilul Hashem, it's the ultimate Chilul Hashem. That's what Chilul Hashem is. Chilul Hashem is we're taking, Chilul means that you take something which is designated, what is like chulun, you take something which is designated for a purpose, and then you just use it for chol. That's what the word chilul means. If you're machalul hektish, that's what it means. If you take something and I say harei zeh koinam, it's not harei zeh koinam, or this is for kodesh, this is for bedek habayis, and then I go and I use it for not bedek habayis. That's what chilul means. I'm being machalal as hakodeshim. I'm taking that which is designated, and I'm using it for chol. Chilul zoshen chol. If I take the suras ha'adam, which is doima to the tzura el yoina, because the only reason why we're doima to the tzura el yoina is because we have this job to do, and now I don't do the job. So now, not only am I machziv asatzura, but it's a real chilul Hashem because you look godly and you didn't do the job. So you've used these kochos for different purposes.
So would that be the definition of the goyim then? They didn't accept the Malchut Shemayim?
Why not? Who can redeem themselves? Sorry to sound so. Who can redeem themselves by also zayin mitzvahs and working for tikkun olam. So you're part of the staff. You've lowered your own position, and we allow them in. Anybody can be Magayer. Anybody can be Magayer. So we allow them in, but the point is that if you just people have some tremendous kochos out there. You know, it's. In other words, if you go to a movie, watch television, listen. People have tremendous amount of talent, tremendous amount of brilliance, and so much of it is used not only for the wrong things, or unfortunately, but for evil, literally for evil. All of those evil people. Stalin, this is Tzzelem Elokim. This could imagine that the koach of this man would have been used latov. Probably would have brought Mashiach. How could it not? The koach to get a whole world to follow until you kill 70, 80 million people. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, the koach of the klipa, the koach of the tumah, but it's all Tzzelem Elokim, bad, some chosen wrong. Just went the wrong way. That's why I call Gadol mechaver Yitzray, Gadol miman. I just want to make a point here while I'm here. I bet you yesterday, there's a mitzvah, a person does a chet, mishpat maves, God forbid. So, some cases, based in hangs him. Clear. So here the Torah says, you're not allowed to leave him hanging from the tree for too long. And the reason is, kilulas. Listen to the words. Kilulas, Elokim, Toli. What's the pshat? Kilulas, Elokim, Toli? So the word. Tzzelem Elokim, Toli. Rashi says, here's the Ben HaMelech, who looks like the Melech. It's embarrassing to the Melech. He's a Chil Hashem. Well, what's Kilulas Elokim Toli? Kilulas means it's the tzura of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that has been abused. That's what klala means, to abuse. Make kal, to make kal. Kilulas Elokim Toli, and take it down. By looking at it, you're making HaKadosh Baruch Hu kal by being mavazeh his tzura. True, this person chose wrong. True, the person chose wrong. True, the person deserves to die. It's happened, once every 70 years, such a thing could have happened. It didn't happen often. It was like a big deal if it happened. I was reading the history of the Goyim Havdalos, and I was in Venice a couple of weeks ago. So they have a place called St. Marcos Square. So there's the place where they used to kill people, a certain spot in the church there. That it's a whole Kabbalistic thing. It's the ninth pillar. It's a ninth pillar for one side, the fourth pillar for the other side. That's a cheshbon that they were doing ritzicha from this. What did they kill a person for being Jewish, for instance? those kind of chatoim. So the derech of hariga was that the thing was exactly, I think, something like 11 meters or something high, and you tie a rope around his neck and you throw him off the thing, and it's b'diuk kacha that that he dies of strangulation before it's the group. So I was just reading the thing. I don't usually go to church. The reason I went there is because it was there that there was the very infamous burning of the Rambam and Shas in this place. I just wanted to say like the Kabbalah in this exact spot. But anyways, I was reading the plaque over there about how they used to kill people from this spot. So how often did they kill people? 10, 11 times a day in a good season. 10, 11 times a day. It was like an unbelievable thing, you know. But, and then they used to keep them hanging there, all of them, for like a week. That was the cheshbon. So you can understand where the chumash is coming from. You know that loiselet ivlasei al eitz kekilas elakim totally. But I just if you'll allow me to make a quick political point here. It just seems to me, it bothers me, like you know, there are people in Klal Yisrael that do very bad things. There are Rishayim, bad people. Child molestation, abuse, terrible. If they're guilty, I mean, in my opinion, you know, throw them to the dogs. I don't have any problem reporting them, sending them to jail. I don't have any problem. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the Chazal say. That's what the Poskim say. I don't have any problem with that. What I have a problem with is, okay, let's say after you did that, it's like to hack again and again and another blog and another blog. Like you can't, like what's like why it becomes after day 2, it goes into the geder of, it goes out of expose to the geder of Chilul Hashem. Kehillat Shivtei Yeshurun. It's mamash, you know, the heter to ruin this guy's wife and family and everything. You did it, finished. Throw him to the dogs. Let him go to hell. I understand all that. I have no problem with that at all. But like, why over and over and over again? I keep on reading, like, you know, the latest one, another blog with his name, and this. Where does this come to Jews to keep on going over and over and over again? Look, finished. You prosecuted him. You got him out of the way. Let it go down in record that this person should never be in a position of responsibility or connected to children or women or men or whatever the problem is. But why hack? Like it's just, so it's the Yitzhar. When the estate it's the Yitzhar, but I think it's over. I think it's like, oh, you did what you did. You did what you had to do. It's a very painful thing to do this. But don't blog about it. Don't blog about it. Why? What's the? And it's a lav. I think it's a lav of the Torah of Kehillat Shivtei Yeshurun. Here you have somebody who particularly you know, a rabbi or something like that, you know, who people are looking at as thought that he was the tzura doibel tzura, violated that privilege, didn't do it. Has to be removed from that situation. Has to be hung. We're talking about a rotzeach. If you're hanging somebody, rotzeach. You know, we're talking about the worst kind of people. So, but nevertheless, people are looking at it and saying, Kehillat Elokim totally. They're attributing it back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what people are doing, and that is what people are doing. So I'm just making my.
For itself, himself, it's a tikkun. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Huh?
Don't worry about it. But again, it's tikkun. Look, I'm Baruch Hashem, like Nikika Payim Var Leva. I was never in that position, but hopefully will never ever be in that position. But and I'm careful about these things to a crazy fault. You know, like somebody comes to see me, I open the windows, the doors, like everything. But I'm just saying, like, think about it. You know how humiliating it is already. So, you know, to be humiliated. I have no problem with the humiliation. I don't even have a problem with it's hurting the family, because it's a Kadosh Baruch Hu's cheshbon. It's his cheshbon. It's you know, it's a kaska to Haim Rabbah. Like every time a beis would incarcerate somebody who goes over who hurt the family. I mean, you know, what are you supposed to do? That's the Kadosh Baruch Hu's cheshbon. But that's what's mutter. That's what you have to do with great pain once in 70 years. But to hack on it is Kehillat Elokim totally. That's what the Torah says you're not allowed to do. So the minute it's done, it's done. Put it someplace in the Beis Hagniza, you know. But once it's done, but it became like a mitzvah.
I think it's somewhat a reaction to people that are trying to hide behind it.
Okay, we don't. I agree. But why are we reacting instead of going Pidaster? Right, there's such big cover up that this becomes like, well, like, no, there's emes. What's good is good and what's bad is bad. That's all I'm saying. Shariker Tzzelem v'adamus Elyon. Let's finish up. Hein pu loisav. Uma yoyoloi, what good is it, he says, Ma yoyoloi. Heyoisoi kitsura ha'elyoina. If a person has all of the abilities to be the tsura ha'elyoina, which is the spheros tree, Dmus tavnis evarav, which is the right hand is chesed, the left hand is gvur, etc. Dmus tavnis evarav. So your Moshe, I'm going to give you a job here to keep on being medayik. What's tzelem or what's duos? Ubepulais, meaning midos. What good is all that? Ubepulais lo yistam elokainai. There is you have the outside, but you don't have the inside. Lefichach, and here you have it before Roish yistam el pulas hakeser. We have to really look at ourselves in terms of understanding the keser. Shein yud gimel midas sharachmim el yoinais v'remuzais beside apsukim. Mikel kamoicha. Now this is just there's 13 midos that Moshe Rabbeinu was megala in the Torah. Hashem kel rachum v'chanun erech hapayim rab chesed v'emes, etc. Those are 13 midos of Hashem. What was he being megala there? He was saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not this is who you are, but this is what you stated, or what I know, Baruch HaKodesh or B'Nevuah, is the covenantal bylaws of the creation. This is how you're being manhig the Bria. So if this is the way you're being manhig the Bria, why aren't you forgiving the people for the Egel Hazal? That was the context. So Hashem Kel Rachel V'Chanun represents 13 midos. They're reiterated over and over again in different languages by different Nevi'im throughout. So Moshe Rabbeinu said it that way. Hashem Kel Rachel V'Chanun. The Tomer Devorah could have been written on the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. Instead, for some interesting reason, he chose he went all the way to Sefer Micha, which is already towards the end of Tanakh, and there Micha said the 13 midos, Mikel Kamocha, Nosei Avain V'Over Al Pesha. He was talking to Hashem and supplicating Hashem very much in the same way that Moshe Rabbeinu did, but he was different Lashonis. And his lashon wasn't Hashem Kel Rachum, it was Mikel Kamocha. So as we'll learn, you'll see that it's makbil. The Yud Gimel Midas Harachim is totally makbil to the Mikel Kamocha. But this is the pasuk that Tomer Devorah chose to use. So I think the Mekubalim explained that Hashem is Moichin Gedolim and Mikel Kamocha is Moichin Ketanim, meaning one is, let's put it in easier words, one's Isarusa Delela, one's Isarusa Del Satan. Is that easier words? In other words, they're coming from two different places. We'll explain. But the Mikel Kamocha of it is where he's closer down to us anyway. Mikel Kamocha, Micha said, Noisei Avain. We're going to, each one of these, the first Midah you'll see is Mikel Kamocha. The second Midah of Hashem is Noisei Avain, Oiver Al Pesha, etc. Im Kain, Shibroy Shetim Senu Boy, Yud Gimel Midas Eile, Va'achshav Nefarish Oisen Hapulai Shud Gimel Shibroy Shetiyano Boy. Now, boy means the person. Now, let's try to understand the 13 midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he used to create the world. This is his Hanhaga in the Hashkacha Pratis of the world. Therefore, as his executives, we have this 13 midas, so we have this within us. In other words, Kel, Rachel, Mechanun, Erech, Hapayim, Rab Chesed, V'Emes, even Kel. We have these all within us, and so we have to understand them about ourselves and then understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We don't understand about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and then understand ourselves, but it's all one thing because this is the tikkun of the world. Thank you very much. So tomorrow we'll do Elul.